All right. Okay, so just to clarify, I'd like everyone to tune into my stream really fast. Um, all right. And hello, I'm Kenzie. I should introduce myself. Um, so to start us off, I actually prepared a small, very quick video that's a very fast overview of the general process of texture editing and uploading. Um, so this is just, again, this is a very fast video. If for those here and for those watching, if you're trying to like follow along, you're not going to be able to follow along with this video in particular. This is just a very brief overview of things. So just want to make you, I just want to make it clear because actually do speed up things. Anyway, I'm going to transition into the video because I'm not sure how to do a smooth transition into it. Uh, and here we go. To start off, create a new Unity project and import the raccoon model. This should not take you very long. I sped up the process just because, well, I'm on a time limit here. The raccoon model is mostly pre-configured, however there are some things that you do need to change yourself. For instance, you need to set the visemes and you need to set the animations. The animation controller has already been made and just needs to be ported over and put into the slot here. However, the visemes do need to be set up manually. By doing so, you need to go to the drop down here and then go down and select Viseme Blend Shape. You need to then drag the body mesh onto there. The body mesh is in the hierarchy. Then you will see the visemes when you hit the drop down there. You need to then go through manually and select each one. This is just setting up the project so that we can upload it later. From here, locate the animations controller by going to the anims folder and finding raccoon override. You want to then take this and drag it into the little box here. You want to do this for both seated and standing animations. This now ensures that you can do gestures by moving your fingers around in VR chat. After some basic testing to make sure that everything's in working order, I'd recommend opening GIMP now, and we can open our PSD file. I, again, supplied a fox and a husky edit of the existing raccoon texture. So I'd recommend using those as I reorganize the layers to make them a bit more simple for newcomers. To start off, I drag and drop the reference sheet for Finn, the Furality mascot, into the image file. It actually puts it on its own layer, so I do move it up later on in the tutorial. However, this is how it is imported first. I also do believe I change it to the GIMP color settings, but that's your call if you want to do that or not. Now we're going to be using the colorize option to get the base colors down on Finn's model. To do this, we're going to go to colors and then down to the colorize function under the drop-down. The colorize option is actually really useful as it is more than just a hue shift. It actually dyes an image's like color to what you tell it to. So for instance, I want this orange to be blue. And I'm here finicking a bit with the eyedropper tool. I don't think the eyedropper tool likes that I use a 4K monitor. I find sometimes programs get a little upset about that. So I go and set the color manually. I go and do this for each layer in sequence. So let's go through and just speed the process up and get through that. It was around here that I actually noticed there were certain parts of the model texture that I didn't need. So I went and hid the extra parts of the hair cards under the tail and the longer part of the socks, as Finn does not have these features on his ref sheet. Once you have your base colors down, it's time to start adding any designs and doing any changes that you think you need to be doing to the model. When you start adding designs, I'd actually recommend turning on the top layer. This layer is a wireframe layer that shows the general layout of the avatar, and you can get a better idea for how the avatar is actually set up as a UV map here. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding the little square tuft on Finn's nose bridge. This is just by simply using the brush tool and brushing in a little square object here. It was around this point that I decided I wanted to actually see the texture on the model, so I started to export it. I actually exported it directly into the Unity project by exporting it into the Unity project folder. The Unity project folder is located in your documents under the name that you saved your Unity project under. Just go to that folder, then go into Assets, then go into Mats, and export it giving it whatever name you want. I gave it, I think, the default name, actually, when I exported it. Once I had it exported, I then took and put the texture into the material. To do this, you just simply grab the texture file and you drop it into the main color slot under the material pane. After a bit of observation, I decided that I like the way that the colors look and I like how I added the little spot there, so I decided to go and clean it up a little more. Here I notice Finn's ear is actually a different color, and I decided to change that. There's a lot of different ways we could have changed that by either just making a new layer and shifting the hue again, or I just actually decided to make a new layer, use the magic wand tool to select out the area, and then just color it in. From here, I decided to add the shoulder patches, which is a little more of a complex process. You see, because the model is split in half, we actually have to keep in mind how these line up on each side. This is where the extra layer comes in handy, because now we can actually use this and line them up by just simply counting the amount of faces between. Faces refers to the little boxes on the model. So we want to actually just keep in mind how many are between each and how this is lining up. And you'll actually see here I mess up the first time when we go in and I pull it into Unity. I was one face off, and as you see, it doesn't line up perfectly. So I go and I pull it down, extend it, clean it up a little bit, and then it lines up well. And now I decided to tackle the tail. The tail actually uses hair cards, which makes this process a bit harder than it should be. So I go and first change the color of the cards, and then after I get the color of the cards changed, and I figure out which cards are where, I actually go and change the color of the mesh under the cards. And by doing so, I actually have to go and count the amount of faces and lines on the tail under. So it does turn into a bit of a tedious process, as I'm sure you can see by me just switching between the two programs a few times here. But the end result is good, and it's worth the tedious nature that it is, I would say. I actually go and do the nose and eyebrows here too, because I straight up forgot to recolor those earlier, so that's my bad. It was around this point that I decided I should recolor the hair as well, and the hair is actually on a separate material, so taking the hair and recoloring it was the process of just taking another texture that's within the assets folder and just shifting the hue, no, colorizing it, and getting it to look right on the fox. And here I decided to actually go and fix the crotch area a bit, specifically just smoothing out lines, making sure that they line up on the UV map. This was really fast, and I actually got it right on around the first try. So, yeah. Same process as the shoulder, so nothing to really comment on here. The next part of the process is a bit more exclusive to Finn as a character, so I decided to just kind of speed through it and explain. This is actually useful for if you want to be adding your own designs onto the persona, like if your character has, say, tattoos or something interesting with their fur. I made a new layer above everything, and then I started to actually go through, and I actually was painting on the wrong layer there, but I started to go through and just add in little pixelated points, because Finn on his ref has this as a note, whereas for transitions, there are pixelated points because Finn's more of a holographic, non-organic character. So I did that to try and capture that. This is an artistic thing as well, something like you might want to keep in mind. And as you see, I just go look at the ref and I add it on the hands. And I do at times forget to keep the guide on. Make sure you have the guide on when you're doing things like this, because the texture does bleed out a bit. That's intentional, but you want to have the guide on just so you're not coloring outside of the UV map. Okay, now we're ready to upload. One thing I'm going to show though is how to actually add a custom icon. Normally Unity will just try and take a photo of the avatar in its A pose. What you want to do is actually add a plane into the scene. Make sure it's not within the avatar at all. Anything not within the avatar will not be uploaded to VR chat. So you can have a lot of things littered about your scene as long as you have the avatar like free of any clutter. Next, you'll want to right click and create a new material, and then go to the shader option here, go down to unlit. Next, find an image. This can be an image you commissioned or drew, just as long as it's safe for work, and drag it from Unity, or your file explorer, into Unity. After this, you can go and just drag the texture in as you did the texture earlier, and just configure the shader as, or the material as you did the material that you did on the raccoon earlier. And now you want to rotate the plane 90 degrees on the x-axis, I believe. I had to check myself there. And now just take it and move it back and away from the fox. Okay, and we're actually done. Just go to VR chat, show control panel, wait for it to pop up. You'll have to enter in your login information. Mine was already saved, so I just hit sign in. And I actually go and I move the tab over just so it's easier to access later on. And then just go to Builder. You'll see some warnings, quote unquote. They're not that big of a deal. Don't worry, you're going to be fine. This avatar is pre-configured, so it should work. If it doesn't, we're going to run into issues. Thankfully, the texture is usable on any version of the raccoon, so we're fine. And it'll take a little bit to build, so we're just going to go through that. And once it's done, go back to your scene. You're going to see this thing called VRC Cam in the scene. This is actually the camera that takes the photo of your avatar. So just go and move it, and you're going to see a camera preview in the corner, and just move it so that it's zoomed in on the image that is there. This is an image that I drew for Finn, for Furality, just for this workshop, actually. So just do that, and you'll be able to see that the icon is now the photo. Name it anything you want. None of these checkboxes matter. Keep it set private unless you want people to be able to copy the avatar off of you. Having it public means that if someone goes up to you and clones it, they'll be able to take it. So don't set it as public unless you really want that. And once it finishes uploading, you'll see a confirmation screen, and you're done. I know that this was a little too fast to follow along. That wasn't the intention with this. This was just to kind of give you a feel for what all we're going to be going through here in this workshop, and give you an idea on what to continue with and how to go about things. So I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and we're going to head back to me live and not pre-recorded. So back to live, Kenzie. And now we're back. All right. So, as I said, you might have questions, and if you do, feel free to just speak now.
how do I turn on the UV thing in GIMP?
Okay, so the UV is actually it's the top layer, layer one. You see the little like it's the icon right next to it. Let me actually share my screen. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I found it.
Okay, I'll just share my whole screen. Yeah, it's the top layer up here that shows the UV uh, map. I'm not sure what the technical term for that actually is. I feel like there probably is a technical term. I'm just missing it. Anyone else have any questions? And feel free to just ask questions later on throughout the stream too. You don't need this isn't like one specific Q&A area.
How did you get the Fin reference sheet on there while you're doing it? Like,
Uh,
did it,
I I just simply dragged and dropped it from File Explorer. So like here's and I wanted to make sure I want to check what this image is before I put it in there because I'm not seeing icons. Yeah. Okay, so I just like grabbed it and dragged and dropped it in from File Explorer.
okay, that worked awesome.
Will that pre-recorded video be available anywhere at a later time, like maybe after the stream is done?
It will be. I can actually just put it in I'll just put it in workshop texture questions because I did upload it to YouTube a while back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in case there's anything specific. Let me just go to where it is. Your YouTube Studio. Videos. There we are. Yeah, I'll put it in. There's also a Discord channel. I think everyone can see it. Yeah, there's a Discord channel under Texture Workshop. It's toward the bottom. Texture Workshop questions. I'm going to put the link to the video in there. And this is also for anyone watching that has questions. You're free to post in there. Um, Slow mode is enabled, so try to have your question put in one chunk of text instead of like spacing it out. I know that's a bad habit to break at times.
Is the UV map required to like be in the editor, or can it be like disabled or deleted?
You can disable it and delete it. When you export the texture, turn it off, otherwise it will show on the model. So I always turn it off whenever I export it, unless I'm doing something like with the hair cards where I had to actually like view the model and count like how many faces it was going down. Um, but you can remove it completely if you feel that you don't need it. I wouldn't recommend that though, because as I said, like with how specifically the raccoon model, with how it's UV unwrapped, they're along the seams here. It's like you have to really keep in mind, uh, especially with like the shoulder area and like leg area, just because there does turn into this issue where like, oh, this might not line up perfectly and it can look a little off. There is I I'm not sure if it's just due to like texture resolution or how Unity compresses things, but there is a bit of leeway I've found. Like for instance, I don't think this lines up like completely perfectly if I actually look at the file here. Yeah, they don't line up completely perfectly, but it doesn't look bad on the model. So I think there's like a little bit of leeway, so you don't need to like be as super focused on it as you might think. But do keep in mind that that is a thing that with like texture editing. As I talked about it in the preliminary video, the secondary one, a UV map is kind of like a really precise projector of like you're taking this image and projecting it onto specific parts of a model. So that's a good way to think about it. Actually, notice something that I didn't do here that I Probably should have.
So how do you, like, after you export it to the folder for your Unity model, how do you actually get it to show up on the model in Unity?
Let me open Unity real fast. Actually, I didn't have that open. Um, here we are. Give Unity a second. I apologize. Okay. It's actually just a simple drag and drop. So when you select the model over here in the hierarchy, there's two ways to actually select the model itself. Over here in the hierarchy, you can select, hit the drop down and select body, and that'll select the model, or you can actually just select this and then click again, and it'll select the model. I tend to just double click it. It's a little faster. And when you go down to the right, you'll see on the bottom right, there are these like material planes, and you'll see something called main texture. I think I say main color in the video, which is my apologies. And once you have it exported in, you can just grab the image file and then just drag it where the little icon is there. So like that'll change it. Does that answer your question, or?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I do think there's other ways to do things like that as well. Like, yeah, you can actually like search through if you select the little like circle icon. I just find it easier to drag and drop stuff. But we all have our own little workflow when it comes to things like this.
Man, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm so lost right now. I fell behind in that video, and I
Oh no, that's fine.
I couldn't catch up.
I'm just clicking around in GIMP right now, pretending like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, same.
It's fine.
Same.
It's I totally understand. It's if there's anything in particular that you think that you need any explanation on.
Okay, so I'm kind of gonna just like ask this in a very, very general sense, and I know that the video explained this. I feel stupid for asking it, but I'm gonna ask it again. So I have the I don't even know what you call it, the PNG, the picture, the texture,
Yeah.
pulled up in GIMP right now.
Mhm.
Where do I go from there?
So, do you have like a ref sheet that you're looking toward?
No, no, I'm just kind of learning or trying to figure out how to like just color in things and just change it in
For
a general sense.
coloring, like just generally coloring in things, you can select. I see you have the Husky one open. So if you just go and you select the layer, um, in the bottom right, there's if you scroll down, you'll see a layer called, I think it's dark fur. And then you go to colors, it's in the top, and then colorize.
Where is that? Oh, there we go.
It's really far down. That'll actually let you change the color to basically anything that you want to change it to. And that can be applied to like every layer, either in order or however you choose.
Okay. And then you mentioned when you were saying if you wanted to add in like details specific to like a certain persona that you have or a certain character that you're going with, you mentioned that you should probably make like new layers for those things. So could you like kind of re-explain that to me on like what you mean by like making new layers and how you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's when I say make a new layer, um I generally just like if I'm going to be painting over something, I usually make a new layer to paint on, just so I don't change anything on the base layer below. So if you go to on GIMP, it's in the bottom right and then furthest to the left icon. If you press that, it'll bring up a dialog menu. You kind of just ignore most of that and just hit OK, and that just makes a new layer.
Okay.
And it will always make the layer above the layer that you're on currently. And moving layers around is just as simple as just grabbing it and dragging it down and up.
Okay.
For instance, fins, the little what are they called? The little pixels around the stomach. Those I made on a layer that's like on top of everything because that kind of blends in with every fur color.
Where'd you go to get the UV map pulled up on the texture here, the picture?
It's a layer 1 actually. If you go and you select the eye icon.
Okay, very cool.
And I wanted to say too, I noticed when you recolor the tail, the black parts in the tail are on a separate layer. If you scroll further down, I think it's tail cards underscore black. Yeah, there. Or dark.
Okay.
So that's, you would just do the colorize function on those again.
Yeah, so when I uploaded the avatar to Unity, I got a bunch of script errors. Did I do something wrong?
Can you share your screen so I can see what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah, I got the script things down here, and then a whole lot of errors over here.
That. Did you create a new Unity project?
Yep. Was I supposed to use a 3.0 or something?
No. Where did you download the raccoon file from?
The link that was in the video.
Let me see. So VRC or tinyurl / new VRC raccoon. And the Unity package is updated raccoon by Milo.Unity package, correct?
Yep, I'll double check. Yeah, that's what it says.
Can you go to your project folder?
Like here?
Yeah, because I'm trying to see. I hate to sound like this. Try closing Unity and then reopening it.
Alright.
Because I'm not.
The classic.
I'm really
Shut it
not
off, turn it off.
sure. Yeah, I'm really not sure why it didn't import correctly, and I'm wondering if you need to, if restarting Unity would help with that. Because that looks like the file imported with an error for some reason, and I'm not sure why it would import with an error. Because normally it works out fine. It might also be you're using Unity version 2018.4.2, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm trying to like run through like what might be the issue because I can even try and like make a new project here.
Yeah, I restarted Unity, I still the errors.
All right. Watch my screen for a moment. I'm gonna make it and see if there's anything that you're doing differently. So this is like the new Unity project. I just hit create project. I'll go through and take a moment. And I think over here it has. Also, I just see Neko Flower posted. How do I get the texture into GIMP? Simply opening the PSD in GIMP would be the process. Let me find my tweet with it. Wait, let me. Okay, now that Unity's open. So to make sure that I'm downloading this, I went and downloaded from here. Just went download anyway. Save file. All right, and then just open it. Preparing package, collecting content. And I don't deselect any of this. I just hit import. And it does take a few moments to actually import. It'll, like, at least for me, might be faster for other people depending
Wait.
on. Oh,
Does it matter the order? Like, do I do the SDK then the package?
oh, you just import the package. The package has the SDK and everything necessary for it.
Might have been the issue.
Okay, yeah, because I just imported the package and it had everything correct. So that's actually why I chose the raccoon, because the raccoon comes with the SDK.
Yeah, because a lot of the error messages did say SDK in them.
And Neko Flower in the chat, I just noticed the question you had. So to import it, you need to have the PSD file downloaded, and then just go to File, Open, and here I have it saved to my desktop. Just go to Husky Simplified is the one that I haven't modified in here. And it'll take a moment to open because it's just converting it. It should be in like this. If you don't have the PSD file, let me scroll down and find where I posted that. Here. I'm moving back over. And yeah, it'll actually say the open scenes have been modified externally. Just hit reload. It'll continue its importing process. Because the raccoon actually has, I think, everything needed. At least I uploaded the raccoon just with just the package, and it has like the dynamic bone script already pre-configured. It has the SDK. It has the shader, like, and everything. So for me, it imported fine. It might have been because you imported the SDK first. I know VR chat, the SDK is a little finicky. Personally, whenever the SDK updates, I always just make a new Unity project entirely, because otherwise it always throws errors at me if I try to install a new version over an old version. So that could have been what happened, because I think this might be an older version of the SDK, which is fine. You can usually upload using most versions of the SDK as long as it's on this current version of Unity. At least in VRChat's current state. I think later they're going to be changing it. And for the record, I wouldn't recommend that for usual circumstances, but because this is a pre-built avatar.
How do you go about changing the eye color?
The eye color is on another material, like the hair. So to change the eye color, you would go to the materials, find the eye find the eye texture. There's already a few eye colors there, but if you want to change them, it would just be going into Show and Explorer. Once you find that, and also like something I didn't mention, I'll mention now. To find if you're unsure of where the Unity project is, if you actually right click in the assets folder, you can just see Show and Explorer, and it will just pull up in a Windows Explorer window in the project, and you can just kind of like see that it's username, documents, workshop name, etc.
Nice.
But then I just go here, open it with GIMP, and we can either colorize or just change the hue. It really depends. The eye is a bit more painted than the fur colors, so you might want to shift the hue here because it would keep the color changes. But colorize would also work. That's one of those things that really is up to you, like based on personal preference. But if we go to hues, oh, go ahead.
I have something to ask. I noticed with the paws, they are merged in one layer. Is there any ways to change the color into a lighter color without affecting the shading?
There is, yeah. So that's actually it's something I believe you can do with the colorize function, because there should be a lightness option. And if you just brighten it a bit, like for instance, let's say I want to make it white, so we can move to here. Like let's say we move it to the furthest end on the left, and then we just shift it up a little more. One thing that is unfortunate is the brighter it gets, the more the shading can be affected.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, because if it's like pure white, it does turn into a slight issue. Trying to see the... Because that is one downside to doing this kind of texture editing, is that it's easy for image editing programs to make something darker, but lighter is a slight issue. So going off of the base texture, if we go and pull it to there, we can make it pretty bright before it starts to degrade in quality.
Damn it, I missed everything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I really just now was able to get into work. I was here training. I went into one.
I have another question. Should I show my screen to make it easier?
Yeah.
Missed the whole thing.
Is that like okay? Should I share the desktop screen instead of...
No, I can see it.
Okay. So I think I'm getting like the idea, but let me pull up the ref sheet. See, like these bits down here on his leg are dark, while the socks up here are lighter. But for the texture on this, they're the same one. How would I go about separating this part from his arm?
I would. How I would go about that would be just simply. So you can actually. I would duplicate the socks layers, and then I would use the selection tool and actually clear off the areas on the feet and legs, and
Clear
then
them
like
off.
vice versa on the other. So like here I have the copy only, and then I think clearing in GIMP is just, yeah, just use the eraser. Wait. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. Okay. I was really confused for a moment. Yeah, just go through and erase the on the copied layers, and then on the original layers, change the color again. It's basically just the process of like duplicating the layers and having it set so that you can erase.
I don't even know what I'm looking at. I missed everything. I wanted to learn.
The introductory video is in the texture workshop questions if you want to try and catch up a little
Okay,
bit.
I think I actually understand now.
So I have
Thank you.
one last question. If I don't want to interrupt anything if you two are still working on something.
I'm actually fine, but I'm actually about to head out. I just wanted to thank you for the workshop.
All right, thank you.
Very helpful.
Yeah,
Oh, it's because it's over.
All right. So
Have a good one, y'all.
I have
see you, Vori.
like one last question, and that's it. And
Sure.
I just need you to break it down for me one more time, Chief. That's all I need. One more time. So I have the uh, Lord, what do you call these things? Textures, the mats, materials in Unity right now. How do I get it from here onto the avatar?
So you simply go to the in Unity, you select the raccoon, and then you see how it says body under the top left.
Yeah.
Select that, and then you'll see the body material. Select the little uh, triangle, and you'll
Okay.
see something called main texture, and you just drag the texture that you imported onto the
Oh,
little icon there.
okay. Very cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. To answer the question in workshop texture questions, you can do it in Photoshop as long as you can export a PNG, or I'm sure other image file formats work. I just think PNG is probably the best because it's lossless. But as long as you can export a PNG, then it's fine. I actually personally use Photoshop normally. GIMP was something I learned for the workshop because I wanted something that was free and available to everyone. So yes, you can do your image edits in Photoshop.
Okay, so I'm clicking build and publish for Windows, but it's not wanting to upload for some reason. I'm getting this error that says lower leg is not first child of upper leg or foot.
That should be fine. If you can I see what happens when you press that?
Yeah. Nada.
Okay, I actually see an error in the console. It says file not found exception. See users app data local temp. Can you go down to in Unity if you see on console? It's in the lower left. I just want to see what it's saying. Whenever something's wrong in temp, actually, that might just be a simple turn it off and turn it on again. So
Alright,
try, yeah, just try that real fast for me. No, Snowy, I just looked over at your screen actually. If you're adding something, I would recommend waiting until you're out of play mode. Do you see how it has the little.
Yo.
Sorry to like interrupt you, but if you,
No, you're
I just
fine.
know that changes to the screen might or changes to the Unity scene aren't saved during play mode. So if you just go out of play mode.
Oh, I didn't think I clicked it. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just noticed I didn't want you to like go through the work of putting that in and then be like, wait, why did it disappear? Oh, it looks like it's working for you now.
No, it completely removed the VRC SDK asset when I closed out.
We did it?
Yeah, all I have is utilities now.
That's strange. Try to re-import the raccoon again. Or did you already do that?
No, should I just make a new project?
Try doing it into your current scene. Because it's the first, or because it's the same version of Unity, I don't think it'll break.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're
Break it down
fine.
for me, Chief. How do I go about doing that?
Just go to the raccoon file that you had downloaded, and just double click it and re-upload, or yeah, the the Unity package that you had.
uh, so just double click this one here.
No, when you installed it into when you had first opened Unity.
It just automatically loaded it into the sample scene.
Okay. No, I mean like how just repeat the process for that because that should re-import the SDK. Because if you do that, it'll see what files are missing. I believe.
Okay, so just re-import the Unity package for the raccoon.
Yeah.
No, wait.
All right. I did want to say, I'm not going to like cut everyone off here whenever the panel does end. Everyone here is welcome to keep working. I can stay here for a little bit as well. Um, so just wanted to throw that out there. And I wanted to say thanks to everyone who has been watching. Thanks for dealing with me probably being a bit of a like new person to doing all this stuff. I'm very I've never really done anything like this before, like in terms of like teaching in this way. So I apologize if I got a little too complex for some people, and if I didn't get it complex enough for others. I was trying to find a balance. So apologies if I screwed up a little.
It's fine.
You've done really well.
Honestly, you're being a bigger help than you know for me right now. So okay.
Oh, tell them I said thank you for watching. Well, tell them I said thank you for watching. Watching right now.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yes,
But
thank you,
no, thank
Twitch
you.
chat, for watching on the behalf of Kenzie here. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, though. I do appreciate. I'm happy if I was able to help anyone, even a little bit. I don't know. I really like helping people with this kind of stuff, so it was really nice to try and hold such a workshop. No, I don't actually. So, again, thank you everyone for attending. And thank you everyone for watching. It was a lot of fun.
Hi, Mom.